Karni Mata, remember, especially for the people of Rajasthan, is a huge belief when it comes to strength of the goddess protecting them for the longest time. It's a prominent Hindu temple dedicated to Karni Mata and is about 30 kilometers south of Bikaner, but it's in the border areas, and it's going to, remember, in many ways reflect the kind of protection and strength that Indians believe comes in as much from our gods and goddesses and the kind of legends around them, especially when it comes to strength and sacrifice. So therefore, at this juncture, starting the visit from the Karni Mata temple, and a belief that, remember, that this goddess had brought prosperity and protected the people of the region, especially somewhere around 13th, 14th century. But this is where a lot of people of Rajasthan have a very strong faith when it comes to the Karni Mata temple. Many would also know this is where thousands of rats are allowed. It's free for rats at the Karni Mata temple, if I'm correct. That's also an interesting trivia about it, but of huge importance, especially for the mystique around it, for the devotees who've been, remember, generational loyalists when it comes to Karni Mata. After this, of course, the focus, the big highlight is from the Karni Mata temple, he heads to the air base. Again, a reflection that our bases are running fine. Pakistan attempted best to target our people and our assets of border areas, but all of that was protected and housed. So remember, symbolic message as well, to bow down as much to the gods and goddesses keeping the region protected, and of course to ensure and acknowledge the support of the armed forces. So that's the visual on your screen. Devankur Vadhavan joins me from Rajasthan. Dev, tell me more about this visit to Karni Mata temple and why possibly you feel that Prime Minister Modi started his itinerary from here. Shivani Sharma also joins me. Shivani, I bring you in first. So starting from the temple and then to the air bases as well. After, and I would say from Adampur Air Base, when there's been these series of meetings and visits, why Bikaner?
Pooja, see, last week we saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting Adampur Air Base and interacting with the heroes of Operation Sindoor. And today he is in Rajasthan. And when it comes to Rajasthan, the Nal Air Base happens to be one of the most strategic locations, especially when it comes to saw how it was targeted by Pakistan. So now when Prime Minister is there, he's visiting Karni Mata temple. It is again very important and historically, it has a trivia around it, as you were also mentioning. But in the whole state of Rajasthan, when he's visiting all these places, and he'll also be visiting Nal Air Base, it is important to highlight that how he continues to boost the morale of our forces. He stands by the faith and belief out there. He is inaugurating thousands of crores of infrastructure development projects out there in Rajasthan. And when it comes to Nal Air Base, Pooja, he landed there. He will be going there. He'll be visiting and meeting again the personnel, the airmen out there who were a part of Operation Sindoor, which is one of the air bases that is used for surveillance, reconnaissances, and important assets of the Air Force, including the Su-30s, are placed out there. So Nal is important in terms of not only the strategic location and its operations when it comes to the western border. It has been operating into a multiple exercises and after Operation Sindoor, the importance is all the more understandable because it was targeted by Pakistan. The attempts were spotted by Indian Air Base out there. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will once again give a message from there, not only refuting all the fake and false narrative of Pakistan that our assets were destroyed. We expect that certain important assets will again be seen when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be there. But we can see these visuals from Bikaner where he is praying at the Karni Mata temple, which again is of a very
to be clear, the reason after Adampur base here is because it is again a fact check, exactly how Adampur Air Base was, to show that Pakistan is trying to claim that they have tried to target our strategic assets, and this is where a lot of squadrons are located, like you're telling us, including the Su-30, and then all of that is just fine, and that's another messaging. So this is multiple layers right now, and starting, of course, with a prayer to the goddesses that they protected us as much.
Certainly, Pooja, this is a very strong message that is going across that the belief in the gods. And when we visit Rajasthan, when we visit the forward locations out there along the western border, there are a number of temples which have their stories of valor of these gods and goddesses. And our security personnel also they have firm belief of these goddesses and gods protecting our forces on the western border. Pooja, there are hundreds of such tales and this Karni Mata temple, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is starting his visit to Rajasthan on the western border with this prayer at Karni Mata temple, this is yet again a message that gods are protecting our forces too. So it is an important message. And as you were also saying, when he'll be visiting the Nal Air Base, he will again be fact checking the Pakistan's fake agenda, fake narrative, the false news that India has inflicted with damages, showing some important assets out there, meeting the personnel out there, showing how our strategic bases are absolutely fine. They are operational. They have been the heroes of our Operation Sindoor, which is still on. Even though they were targeted, they thwarted the attempts of Pakistan. All our assets, as we saw in Adampur, Pooja, the S-400s we saw there, we saw the intact runways, we saw the POW fighters out there, the spirited airmen, the personnel of the forces out there. So we will again. We are expecting to see some of these important strategic assets in Rajasthan, in Bikaner, in Nal air bases, and also a way for progress with a number of key development projects that are to be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi
With
out
me.
there.
So this is about a 15-minute visit to the Karni Mata Mandir, and after that, following this visit, he'll inaugurate the Deshnoke railway station and then flag off the Bikaner Mumbai express train as well. So of course, with one itinerary, one visit, multiple layers, the focus remains the visit to the base. Tell me about the strategy, Shivani, that Prime Minister Modi started with a visit to the Adampur Air Base. It was followed by Defence Minister's visit to Bhuj and then of course to the Kashmir Valley and now Rajasthan. Border states specifically, are we looking at more visits like this, or do you think possibly Rajasthan could be the last one now?
No, Pooja, we will definitely see more visits like this. And every week we are seeing these visits, not only by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with his addresses that not only warn Pakistan and reiterate the doctrine which has been now laid out that any act of terror will be an act of war. We will not be talking to Pakistan except about the terrorism and the POK. And very important out here is the warning that comes and the alertness and the faith in our forces who have been they have been standing strong even in the wake of those dastardly attacks, first on the tourists and then on the cities, the villages out there, the citizens who were targeted by Pakistan along with the military infrastructure. So that message we again expect from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it will be an ongoing process because we have been given that this Operation Sindoor is not an operation that is over. This is still an ongoing operation, and our strategy has changed now.
Stay
So
on
we
with
will
me
be seeing.
because we have on our screens, these are visuals that are coming in. To always remember, there are men who risk their life to keep us safe and protected. Many of these men, and because the focus I can see here are possibly of the Indian Army, men or the border security force and other. Remember, it's eventually a collective force of Indians to stand guard at the border, whether it's 1971, whether it's 1962 Indo-China war, or whether it is any conflict or a daily alert, whether it's the BSF or the Indian Army or the Indian Air Force, men and women in uniform are putting their life on the line, knowing fairly well the kind of neighbor we have in Pakistan that only wants to focus on India and Indians' annihilation. And at this juncture, ISI and the Pakistan military have consistently proven it. They have shown with their efforts about how they sponsor terrorists or even military action. These men who may have won medals posthumously, but it's a reminder of the kind of alertness, readiness, the courage and valor that these men have shown over decades. So, of course, a reminder with regard to the morale of the forces as well. Prime Minister Modi's earlier visits also on showcase. But it's a reminder again that it shouldn't only be a soldier's fight to fight Pakistan. This good fight has to be fought by all Indians. And Prime Minister Modi in this one visit is putting forth in that itinerary starting from the Karni Mata Mandir, which is a part of cultural religious heritage, especially for Rajasthan, but for all Hindus as well. But for the armed forces, remember, you must have seen, especially in border areas where the situation can get tense every few days, the belief in the local deity that is known to have kept the people protected is very strong. And this transcends to all forces. Isn't that, Shivani? You would know that you interact with the Faujis all the time, that this is not just about local Rajasthani population. It's even for the soldiers deployed at the border. They believe that these local deities, and it's a belief, when you deal with tensions of that nature, it's a belief that is very strong, that you have the training, you have the weapons, but you need the protection of the local deity too.
Pooja, you're absolutely right, because when we go to the borders to cover the operations out there, we see there are several temples, especially when we go to the western border, we see a lot of temples out there with the tales of valor of those deities, and they are regarded by all the soldiers of all religions. That's the beauty of these forces, Pooja, because they have that spirit, but the faith keeps their spirits high. We have all the preparedness, we have all the training and skill, but that belief in these local deities and the stories of valor that go on, they keep these forces inspired. And that's what we today see when Prime Minister Narendra Modi has started his visit in Rajasthan. He started this visit from Karni Mata's temple. That is again the deity who has been inspiring bravery in Rajasthan. We see what we call is Rajasthan ki mitti is the mitti of weeds. So that soil of valor is regarded by the soldiers out there, be it the BSF soldiers. We've seen a number of temples out there that have been a source of inspiration and courage to all our soldiers. There are stories that there were times when, at the time of war, all the other places were damaged, but the temples kept the forces secure. So that is the faith in Rajasthan and a number of places out there, be it the Bikaner border, be it the Jaisalmer area. So all there we have seen such kind of important deity temples which are regarded there by the forces. And when we see Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting these places along with the temple, he's also paying his homage to the fallen heroes of BSF and the Indian Army in that region. Because in Rajasthan, majorly we see Puja, the BSF has been protecting in the international border area with Pakistan. And the 1947 and onwards, we've seen a number of conflicts in which India has remained victorious. So those tales of victory keep the forces strong. And it is also a warning for Pakistan when Prime Minister goes there, interacts with the forces, gives that strong rebuttal of the facts that were misleading by Pakistan after Operation Sindoor, saying that number of aircraft or certain assets have been damaged. So this is a fact check. This is a warning. This is once again an inspiration and a message of gratitude by the countrymen towards all our forces that we stand by you. We are with you. We respect you.
And we've all studied about the Battle of Longewala fought in Rajasthan, again border regions, 1971 India-Pakistan war. Remember, we lost soldiers in that, but it's a reminder of the kind of courage and valor that our soldiers have shown consistently at the border. Shivani, as we stay on with these visuals that are coming in, of course, starting with Adampur base and now the visuals. Okay, so the inauguration has happened. I want to tell you about how the development projects worth 25,000 crore rupees, including the inauguration of an electrified railway track, 7 major road projects, 3 vehicle underpass, a power grid transmission project, and 900 kilometers of national highway in Rajasthan as initiatives are being launched. So that's what you're looking at with the different inaugurations that have been done. Paintings on display, you see Union Minister Meghwal, you see the Chief Minister Bhajanlal Sharma and others as well. Decked up trains, railway services. This is the Deshnoke railway station that has been inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi, curious supporters around him as well. It's a big moment, especially remember for a place like Rajasthan. And I must add here, Bikaner is where the temperature can actually touch sometimes, for example, even about 48, 49 degrees, possibly more at that temperature, to be able to stand guard in the desert areas for your borders, for your nation. We must always be in deep gratitude for the families, whether it's the BSF, the army, or of course, even the Indian Air Force as and when it is required. Children also already from schools, they've made paintings and sketches and have come in. to catch a glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. Remember, a rare sight, especially for the border areas of Bikaner, to have the Prime Minister of the country right there at this juncture. I, of course, see Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav as well accompanying the Prime Minister as the railway projects are being inaugurated, and other senior leaders as well. So, of course, Shivani, the most awaited visit is still what we are waiting for the Nal base, where he's going to head in just a short while. But before that, some other initiatives being inaugurated.
The focus of the government, especially to build those infrastructure, build those amenities, facilities for the people who are in the border areas. And when we see these railway projects and other projects that are being inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a way, they are also strengthening our armed forces. They are strengthening the mobility of our forces out there in these regions. And yes, of course, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the Nal Air Base, all eyes will be again on those assets, on that spirit, when he will be meeting and interacting with the airmen out there, the personnel who were a part of Operation Sindoor, and also the infrastructure and the strategic importance of that airbase. That is a house of Su-30s and other fighters too. And it has been an